All right, Wilson, let's get the day started, shall we? Downtown Billings, we have 30 degrees. The weather's getting better over the next couple days. Here's a look at First News. It's fair, it's accurate, you get the damn truth. President-elect Donald Trump will making a victor's return to Washington, D.C. today. Joe Biden will welcome him to the White House for a visit. It's a traditional part of the handoff of power. It's a ritual that Trump declined to participate in 4 years ago while election results were still being looked at. The last time Trump met with President Obama, he met in days before, after his election win, said it was a great honor. We'll see what happens today. Trump is hitting the ground running, putting his staff together. Policy decisions are all being made in Mar-a-Lago. President-elect has stunned a lot of people by picking Pete Hegseth to be his defense secretary. Pete had a long career in the U.S. military, has written numerous books on our military, the direction it's going, and problems that need to be fixed. According to AP, they said Trump has picked somebody who is largely inexperienced. Okay, just a damn minute. Let's go over some of the Biden appointees, shall we? To his cabinet. For instance, Antony Blinken, who was his campaign manager, no experience in foreign policy, and put him in the number one position in the world as our Secretary of State. You people were relentless. Also putting in places yesterday, Donald Trump's asked Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy to lead the new Department of Government Efficiency. These men have both built businesses from the ground up. Entrepreneurial spirit gave them their start. Trump had said it will be an outside group that will offer the White House advice on how to drive large-scale structural reform with our government and this bloated bureaucracy that we all have been paying for. He said he wants to shock government systems and clean house, make sure that taxpayers are getting the most for their money and we're just not spending it here or there. Also promised that he is going to eliminate the Department of Education, this federal authority that has been taking place for the last 30 and 40 years over your educational systems. Wants to return that power all back to the states and to the people to decide what is best for the students that they are educating. Republican Speaker Mike Johnson beginning his fight to retain his gavel. The test will come during the leadership elections today. It will establish the new power centers. Johnson has no serious challenger for the speakership role. He needs just a simple majority today in closed-door voting. GOP nomination to become the speaker. He will need majority support of the full House, though, which would be 218 votes, which they still don't know, some races across America yet, who is going to be sent to the House, but they do know that the GOP will have now control of the Senate and the House. They'll also be voting today on the new speaker for the Senate in elections that will be held today behind closed doors. What else do we have going on? Well, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is not letting up. He said the Biden administration is determined in their last few months to keep the Ukraine fighting the Russians. Blinken said that Biden is decided to send another $6 billion of your dollars to the Ukraine to hold Russian forces at bay. Now, keep in mind, for the last 2 years, we haven't given them the weapons or anything that they need to win, just to hold ground. That's all we're doing. In the meantime, millions of people have been displaced. Tens of thousands of innocent people have been killed. There's been no call for a ceasefire with Russia, although they keep pushing for Israel to stop their winning ways against the ruthless terrorist organizations of Hezbollah, Hamas, the Taliban in the region in the Middle East. Blinken said NATO countries need to focus their efforts, too, on ensuring that the Ukraine has all the money, munitions that they have to help them. But the Biden administration and Blinken won't let them use any weaponry that we've given them that would further penetrate into Russia, Moscow, because it would escalate it. Ukraine is now seeking more money, more help, as Russia now has just forged a new alliance with China, Iran, North Korea. Getting ugly over there, folks. They're going to hand off a real mess to the incoming Trump administration. The Federal Aviation Administration now prohibiting U.S. airlines from flying to Haiti. Too much gang activity. United Nations also said they temporarily has suspended flights to their capital, which means they'll have to limit humanitarian aid coming in from our country. Bullets hit a Spirit Airlines plane when it was about to land there on Monday in their capital from all the gang fighting, and they said that's it. JetBlue and American Airlines also said their planes had been shot at while they were leaving the airport. Part of a wave of violence that has now erupted in Haiti. The country swore in their new prime minister after a tumultuous process, but it's a wreck down there, folks. People paying their respects in a southern Chinese city where 35 residents were killed by a driver rammed his vehicle into a sports complex, mowed them down while they were exercising. 62-year-old attacker, man identified only by his surname, was upset about a divorce settlement. He was arrested immediately after that assault. 43 people are currently in the hospital trying to recover from wounds. United Nations had their annual climate conference. Continues again today. Speeches by some of these smaller and bigger nations. For many of them, it's a chance to bear witness of the climate-driven weather extremes they are experiencing. Pakistan saw some horrific flooding in 2022. Yeah, but North Dakota didn't. See, they don't cover that. They only pick a spot where there was an isolated weather event, and they talk about that. Pakistan saw flooding, drought. There was a drought in Greece. Mm-hmm. They talked about that one. See, they found a place where there was some drought. There was no drought in Indiana, though. They didn't talk about that. See how they pick and choose there? The reason? Money. That's what they want. In the Bahamas, their country is $10 billion in debt because some of the hurricanes that happened to go over the Bahamas and the islands there. Nations are eager to speak and try to collect money for their war against climate change. Learning all kinds of new information now that the election's over. New story out today about inflation. You know, inflation rose in October. First time that happened in 7 months. Dang, that was kept quiet for the month of October until after November 5th, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. Well, now we find out today inflation was up. Oh, yeah. Consumer prices increased 2.6% from where it was 12 months earlier. That's higher than the increase we had in September when your prices went up 2.4%. Oh, yeah. All those kind of things. Excluding food and energy costs, core prices rose 0.3 of a point from September to October. And we can all exclude food and energy from our budgets every month. You see what they do? Mm-hmm. But we're learning this now after the election. Wall Street making big bets on the White House being led by Donald Trump. Since Election Day, investors have sent prices soaring. Stocks for banks, fossil fuel producers, all companies expected to benefit from a new administration. For retailers, they're hoping that taxes will also be cut on some of the big businesses here. Other industries, auto industry, and others are also looking for a brighter future now that President Trump has been elected. Winning Donald Trump election, people are wondering about mortgage rates before he gets back in. He promised to make home ownership more affordable by trying to get mortgage rates down. How do you do that? You knock out inflation. That's one of his big plans. Mortgage rates are influenced by a lot of factors, including the moves in yield for U.S. 10-year Treasury bonds, which lenders use as a guide to price home loans. Bond yields surged last week following Donald Trump's election victory. We mentioned the airlines that canceled flights down in Haiti. Several others had to cancel flights in towards Indonesia's tourist island of Bali because of volcanoes. Travelers were left stranded at some of the airports there Wednesday as their Mount Leotobi on the remote island there has spewed hot ash high into the air since its initial huge eruption on November 4th. Killed 9 people there below the volcano, but airlines aren't messing with it. They're going to wait till that sky and the air cleans up before they start flying back there. Officials are blaming illegal firearms for a record number of killings in some of the Caribbean islands this year. No Caribbean nation manufactures firearms and ammunition. You know where they're getting it? They're getting it from the U.S. Oh, yeah. Can you believe it? Can you believe an American company would export products to other countries? That's just unheard of. But it's not the law-abiding citizens who are doing bad things with the guns down in the Caribbean. It's the unlawful people there. AP said 90% of the weapons used in the Caribbean were bought in the United States. Well, where in the hell's most of our coffee come from? You dumbasses. You know, we import that too.
Right.
Don't we?
Yes, we do.
And other things because we can't do it here. They can't manufacture guns down there. That's why they import them.
Right.
That's why. That's why. No, we're the reason the killings are up in places like San Juan, Puerto Rico, where they have melee anyway. They have corrupt police department down there. They have a lot of drugs. It's San Juan. Need to get a hold of things down there as well. We told you some good news that STDs were down, sexually transmitted diseases. This on the medical scene this morning. According to health data, syphilis epidemic slowed dramatically. Gonorrhea cases also fell. Last year, there were some alarming increases reported for all of the STDs, but experts blame the declining use of condoms, inadequate sex education, and reduced testing during COVID. They said that is the reason why we saw increases during those years. Some people in the news, John Krasinski, People Magazine's Sexiest Man Alive for 2024. He stars in Office and starred in Quiet Place. I don't know anything about him. He takes the mantle from last year's honoree Patrick Dempsey as the Sexiest Man of the Year in People Magazine. Another name in the news, Dallas Long. He was a 3-time NCAA shot put champ, won gold medal in the 64 Olympics in Tokyo. He's died. Long died of natural causes Sunday, and he died in Whitefish. Yeah, he lived up in Whitefish. Long's gold medal performance in Tokyo included an Olympic record throw of 66 feet, 8.5 inches. Earned a bronze medal at the Rome Games in 1960. Long set the shot put record 11 times between 1959 and 1965. He was ranked number 1 in the world 3 times. Then he became a dentist, practiced emergency medicine. He was 84, died Sunday at his home in Whitefish. Authorities said 5 more monkeys have been returned to South Carolina compound. People who spotted them in the trees didn't know exactly what they were until they saw their face. Police said the monkeys, 43 in all that escaped, are still unharmed. They pose no threat. They've got 30 of the 43 back now. Animals are all in good health. They're about the size of a cat. They're smaller monkeys. Oh, and one more. The National Toy Hall of Fame in Rochester, New York has enshrined a new class of honorees. My Little Pony, the Phase 10 card game, Transformers action figures, all inducted on Tuesday. Experts voted them in from among 12 finalists that also include balloons, Hess toy trucks, the trampoline, and remote-controlled vehicles. Anybody can nominate a toy, but to make it in, toys have to have inspired creative play and enjoy popularity over time. This year's finalists also included Apples to Apples. That's a party game. I don't know what that one is.
That's fun.
Choose Your Own Adventure, Game Books, the Pokemon trading card game, and Sequence and the Stick Horse. What's Apples to Apples?
It's a game with cards, and I got it confused with the other one. I can't remember what's on the cards, but it's something a big group of people can play at a house party.
Oh, okay. I've seen the apple relay where you put an apple under your chin and you have to hand it off to the next person, and
Right.
they have to. I was thinking about that for a Flake strip party game, but there would have to be too many strangers handing off apples to each other.
Right. You gonna freeze those too?
Yeah, I'm going to freeze those too. God, Mr. Critic here. Jeez. Cat Country News Time is 6:52. Sports and weather next.
In sports, I think one of my strengths in my entire lifetime is avoiding a butt whooping. And so if I knew Jake Paul, who was going to fight Mike Tyson finally on Friday night, I would say, Jake, never get into the ring with somebody that says the following: I am bringing the devil himself to the ring. We're friends, but there's no feelings attached. My own mother should be very careful if she got in the ring with me.
Mike Tyson said that.
So,
Well, beef.
I hope it goes more than one round.
Yeah. But he's 50 now.
50,
Is he 50 some?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's 50 some. But he's been training and he's an animal.
Mm-hmm.
Jake Paul's an animal too, though. So we'll see. 51 degrees today, partly sunny. Nice day, even nicer tomorrow, 58. We'll get some more weather for you in the next week with Bob here in about 20 minutes or so. Downtown now, it's 33. 6:53, that's what's happening. Mark and Paul here together. Thanks for tuning into The Cat.